are live. Yes, we are live, and it's the Let's Go Live show. So welcome to the third season. And we are going to come on board. Welcome, it's Jane Gardner, and welcome to Let's Go Live show. We're on our third season, and we are going to be talking about live streaming software this year. It's quite an extensive program. So you're going to learn lots about live streaming software and the kind. Today, it's free versus paid software. And we will have a guide for you to download after the show. But let's get started because we've got to do this in 15 minutes. So let's go. So we have already been talking about various things, and I didn't set this up. So there you go. I'm going to have to go back and set this up live. And I am not upset because I do this quite frequently, so I'm used to doing this live. And you can do it live too, because we have been talking about setting up your studio and broadcasting and live streaming and why you should live stream. We have lots of episodes on my YouTube channel at Jane Gardner. Let's just go back so that you know how to spell my name. And you can go to YouTube at Jane Gardner, and I have playlists with the Let's Go Live, Season 1, Season 2. Season 1 is setting up your studio. Season 2 is live streaming. So let's get going on our new broadcast information. We also discussed briefly some of the free platforms you can go on live, as well as some of the free broadcasting software. Yes, I am Jane Gardner. I work with my husband in a structural engineering firm. That's why I'm talking quickly, because I need to get this finished within 15 minutes. And 2018, I got excited at the idea of putting this show and my shows on the Visibility Broadcasting TV network on Roku. And I now have 6 shows, and it's just a matter of me getting organized to put up a few more. So we have worked out what the season 3 will be. And we have over 50 episodes in season 3, and they are quite detailed on the various softwares. So some of the software I've never used before, so I'll have to learn it before I show it to you. But today, it's all about paid and versus the free software and whether it's worth it to use the paid. I will keep you in suspense and not tell you what I believe, because we're going to talk about last episode, 1.1, was why software matters. We looked at hardware versus software, and usually the hardware is owned by another company and you pay them. For example, for broadcasting, live streaming your football game or your church service, unless you can get a volunteer to do that. They have hardware with encoders, and they will promise that they're live broadcasting to wherever you want it to broadcast, and that is hardware. But for most of us, software will do just fine to get us started. So we are going to ask today, do you need to pay for software, or are free tools enough? Well, yeah, they're enough. But sorry, I lost the anticipation. So most start with free tools, like myself, and then growth needs reliability and features and support. So we are looking at the differences between them all, and we're going to do upgrade timing and recommendations for what software that you should use. And the free software, pros and cons, of course, is free software. It can be open source, designed by others, so that it is available with various features. Or you can have a free software which is on trial, or you can have a free software that may be limited in its tier. When I started with my software, XSplit, they had a free version where you had one scene and you could use it and broadcast unlimited, but now they don't. So examples of free software they are OBS Studio. There is a version, I think, of Streamlabs that's free, and YouTube Live Studio. Of course, you can broadcast live in YouTube, which is a really good thing. And of course, Zoom, you can connect that up, but that's a paid software to the various streamers. The pros are, of course, that it's free, so there's no cost, there's high control, and there's usually strong community support with these things because they are open source. For OBS Studio, for example, we've looked at it in a previous season. The cons for some of them, well, OBS Studio is very intimidating to look at. It has a steep learning curve if you have a lot of features that you want to use. If you want to keep it simple, then it can be used simply. There's limited support, of course, because it's community support, so you have to put it into a community platform and hope someone answers. And of course, it may have some missing integrations that you want, but it depends on what you want. And of course, free tools are great to start with, but not always suitable for business. So you could start with the free software, get used to it, and then upgrade as you go along. Paid software, pros and cons. Of course, they're usually a subscription or they're a one-time license tool. And then you have to decide on what version you want. For example, StreamYard, Ecamm Live, Restream now has its own studio. It used to be a multi-streamer, but now it has a studio that you can use as well at the same time. And XSplit is now paid. It does have a simpler version, which is probably less money, and vMix. So these are paid. And they have pros of course, being time saver. They have built-in branding. They will usually allow you to get guests on easily. And of course, they have lots of support from their software. And they have updates, whether it's an updates for a window or an updates to the software, depending on what you need. There are always updates. And of course, the cons are the ongoing cost, and there are some features that you may have to upgrade to if you want them. I know with Restream, you have a certain tier for a certain number of multi-broadcasting to platforms, and if you want more, then you have to upgrade to another tier. And of course, you may buy something that is more than you really need. So you always have to be informed when it comes to whether you buy something or not. And the reality is that paying for software will give you convenience. It will give you professionalism and not just features. I always like to say that when I'm on XSplit, it's like I'm in a $10,000 an hour studio because it has so many features and possibilities for the software to work with, because it's fairly powerful. But of course, I only use certain features of it. So, decision factors for whether or not you're going to be using, what type of software you want to use. You have to ask yourself, how often do you go live? If you're going live like me, once a week, that is expected, then you want to have a stable software that is available all the time. If you're going just occasionally, once a month, and maybe less, then you have to ask yourself which software is better for your needs in terms of your costs. You can ask, do you host guests or do you have solo shows? It can be quite easy to do a Zoom and without guests, obviously, and webinars without guests on Zoom. but do you host guests, and can you get them on to your show easily? Because usually the paid software will be focused on making sure that you can have guests on easily. So there'll be easy features, and they'll have lots of training on how to do that. And if you have trouble, you can call the support, etc. But if you're on OBS Studio and you can't figure it out, well, it is free, but the question becomes, where is the support for you? So you have to ask yourself, do you want to have overlays and branding, and do you want to multi-stream? I use XSplit because, of course, it has lots of overlays you can use, and of course you can put branding on it, and of course you can multi-stream with it. So you have to ask especially about the multi-streaming, how easy it is and whether or not you need it. And then, is the tech easy or stressful for you? So you have to look at their tutorials and see what they're like, and see if it's easy to understand, and whether they have the kind of tutorials you could use to learn that software. And then you have to look at your budget versus your business goals in terms of the cost. And of course, if live streaming supports your brand, investing makes sense, because of course it can be a brand focus for you with the live streaming. And of course, you could always start free and upgrade when limits appear. So that is one reason that I went through some of the features of OBS Studio, because it is free and open source. It can look intimidating, but if you just do it according to what you need and figure it out from some tutorials on YouTube, it could be a good place to start and have some fun with. And then when you get it more reliable, maybe go up to a paid software. So basically, back in 2016, I was on Google Hangouts, and I was quite excited by XSplit, and it had a free version. So I started that way with XSplit, with a free version. And even when it was free, it was quite powerful in terms of the features and what you could do with it. And it has always been easy for me, and it's always streaming properly with well, I've told you what the requirements are. You have to have Ethernet in order to do streaming. That's how I developed from Google Hangouts. So I would usually start by setting up my studio, because if you don't know, I am obviously with a green screen, looking like I have a studio, because I am in my basement and it is very dark and miserable behind me. So with a green screen, I can create a brand that is much nicer. And then I have developed since then, and now I'm going to be developing my actual script and for my show to be able to incorporate some paid features like commercials and stuff. So that's going to be interesting, finding enough time within 15 minutes for that. So let's go on. So basically, I have now a paid version of my live streaming software. So basically what you can do is you can get a free version and learn. And when you feel more confident, maybe get a paid version and then scale with the features that you want. So choose one tool and experiment. And the next episode 1.3 will have a quick tour of the top live streaming platforms. And I'm going to show you how to download the live streaming platforms comparison guide, which gives you the pros and cons. And my encouragement to you is you don't have to be perfect, just confident with the right tool. So, I went and split this up. So we'll just go through this quickly and let's say where we are. Oh yeah, so here we are. So I have a live stream platforms comparison guide. It's a free download and it's direct, so you don't even have to enter your email. There's no opt-in. because it is basically just a comparison guide of the various platforms, pros and cons for you to start with. So it's at https://jane-gardner.com/LVguide, LVGUIDE. So you can get that at, as I mentioned before, jane-gardner.com, LVguide. And you can go previous episodes on setting up your home studio. Check out my playlists at Jane Gardner on YouTube. And to get on my email goodies list, go to http://jane-gardner.com/live. And next time, hopefully, we'll have a simpler way for you to sign up. Because sometimes people have problems spelling my name. So if you put a hyphen between Jane and GARDNER, /LVGUIDE, you can get a free download direct of the Livestream platform guide with the various platforms we'll be talking about over the next season. Thank you for listening.